Hoi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, hey, what up?
And as you can tell, my new mic is back and it's ready to roll. It's off of the injured reserve, and we are going to continue for the rest of the season with this, hopefully. And I have a new monitor, but not that you'll care because that won't matter. That won't matter to you. Anyway, so we had a nice week 14 of football. I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend. But now, for college students, it's the worst time of the year. We have finals.
Final.
But in this week of finals, I hope you enjoy the next slate of games you will be rewarded with
Oh
afterward.
man.
But we'll get to the picks later. For now, we must recap two of the Thanksgiving games because, let's be real, I swear to you, Bill, Thursday games set the tone for Sunday games. Thursday games, the Thanksgiving games were blowouts, and then
Yep.
Sunday followed suit. The Rams decimated the Raiders. The Falcons, even though it looks close, the Falcons they wrecked the Cardinals, which is surprising. The Bills shut out not shut out. They took out the Cleveland Browns, which their playoff hopes just look gone. Even though Johnny Football is likely to start now, the Colts
Yep.
destroyed Colt McCoy. They'll give him credit. He played well. He did his job good enough, but you can't stop the high-scoring team that is the Indianapolis Colts, especially in their place, unless you're the Patriots. So, and there's another blowout, but we'll get to that later. For now, we're going to start with the Thanksgiving games. We'll start with the one that I didn't like. The Philadelphia Eagles destroyed Dallas, showing that Dallas still has troubles with the defense.
Yep.
They could not stop LaShawn McCoy. They could not stop the high-flying Eagles offense. It took care of them 33-10 in Jerry's world. What were your
Yep.
thoughts, Bill?
I felt like it was kind of exposed the problems that we already knew that Dallas had that were kind of glossed over, and that was that their defense, while it was masked by their offense playing well, they were never really on the field, and they were on the field a long time, and they kind of got exposed by the Philadelphia Eagles offense. I feel like that game kind of showed what Dallas needs to work on for their next meeting in Philadelphia in a couple weeks. They need to work on getting that Philadelphia offense off the field, because if they get on that field, they just wear you out. They run those plays so fast that there is no way that a defense can match up to it. I mean, their game plays out within 20 seconds. You have to start playing defense against that, and really the best defense is a good offense. And the Philadelphia Eagles, you gotta give credit to their defense, because their defense played really well against that high-powered Cowboy offense. DeMarco Murray was shut down.
No,
Des
he
Bryant
can't.
was shut down.
He can't run through a big man. He's like over 320 pounds.
Exactly. What they needed to start doing, what I felt like Dallas didn't do really well, is that they didn't really set up any screen passes to DeMarco. Instead of forcing him to run straight through people, set up some screen passes where you can dump it off to him, invite the defense to attack you, and then just dump it right over their head to DeMarco Murray's waiting arms. That way the defense plays slower, and then you can start hitting them with running plays, and then you start hitting them with running plays, then you hit them with play action. It just opens everything up. I felt like if they want to make any improvements, it's on the offensive side of the football, and not running the football as much, but do pseudo sort of runs. Like, like short screen passes. If you're running into a defense that's gearing up for the run, hit them with stuff that they're not expecting.
Mm, really, I think Dallas should get considered drafting a defensive player. You already have your perfect offensive line, which I think even they can't stop 300-pound men charging at them that well. Don't blame them for it. But I mean, actually, Bill, I was thinking for Week 16 subject, since we have playoffs on Week 15 to talk about again, we should
Right.
talk about potential drafts, since we're going to be too distracted with playoffs in the postseason. So, I don't know, that's just an idea. Probably talk about it
Right.
more after the recording. But anyway, Dallas needs to get a star defensive end because it doesn't matter if you drafted another DeMarcus player. It's not DeMarcus Ware. You really need some key defensive players because these guys aren't really turning any heads and turning out to be the next big thing. Which it's kind of hard to be these days when you're compared to J.J. Watt or Richard Sherman or the Buffalo
The,
defense.
the other issue was that they weren't getting to Mark Sanchez. They weren't clogging up the lanes. They were getting out of their assignments. They were missing tackles. LaShawn McCoy is bouncing around like a freaking pinball machine. Pinball. He's just bouncing all over the place, and he's doing whatever he wants against your defense.
That's why I said
And
get a defensive player because
they
these guys can't do it.
they their defense can't keep doing what they've been doing. They did a really darn good job through the first 12 weeks of the season, but I mean, it's all going to happen. Like I said, I always felt like the Dallas Cowboys were in for a collapse, and I feel like this is where they're going to collapse. I feel like they have one more win in them, and they're gonna go 9-7. I I don't see how them not having a good defense is going to
All right. Well
be
then,
beneficial to them.
okay. Then here's an idea. Let's look at Dallas's remaining schedule. You don't even need to explain. Just based on what you're saying, tell me if they win or lose. I've even got the schedule memorized in my head because there's so few left. Okay, so
Okay.
at next, which I know you're spoiling the pick, but it's okay. Dallas at
We
Chicago.
We already picked it, so I said Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. Win. At Philly.
Loss.
Okay, I actually got a loss now. Maybe, but it depends since they are apparently better on the road. Hosting the Colts.
Loss.
Wow. At Washington.
Loss.
They're gonna lose they're only gonna win against Chicago and blow out every game.
I really believe that Washington has their number with, and that week is going to be what it comes down to for their playoff hopes, because I really think Detroit's going to be the fifth playoff team, and the sixth playoff team is going to be up for grabs until week 17.
Because really,
And
what
they're
Dallas needs to do is try and tie with Seattle because they beat Seattle, so they get that priority.
I really believe that their best chance at winning besides Chicago is Washington, and that they have the best chance at winning Washington. But I also believe that Washington's play is I have Colt McCoy, and Colt McCoy is a whole different quarterback than RG3. Colt McCoy beat the Dallas Cowboys already once.
Mm-hmm.
He can beat them again, and I feel like Washington's defense is really good, and we saw what happened when a really good defense stops the Dallas offense, and then that defense comes on the field, and it's a recipe for disaster.
I actually don't believe that they have a good enough defense. I think it's overrated. But I mean, this is coming from a guy who believes that Houston should be way above ranked than Washington. How they're in the top 15 still? No, they're probably in the top 10. I think it still baffles me. They do not deserve that, especially because they keep losing their games. Which you can say the same for the Jets, but yeah, because like to me the thing is, it was just a bunch of blitzes, and Dallas is aware of that. And especially since they're going to play them again, they have to prepare for blitzes more, because that's what Philly did more or less against them.
I'll put it this way: if RG3 wasn't the quarterback and Kirk Cousins wasn't the quarterback of that football team, and Colt McCoy was the quarterback of that team, they'd be a whole lot different in terms of record than what they are right now.
So you're saying that they're better, they're more likely to get the playoffs? Because I don't think Colt McCoy can lead
No,
that team.
I'm not saying that Colt McCoy and the Washington football team are going to make the playoffs now.
Well, it's too late. I'm saying that if you started Colt McCoy from day one,
had Colt McCoy been the quarterback of the Washington football team, they probably would have been either the second or best team in that division, based off of their defense and based off of their offense and who they've got around them. They have a team around that. They have a good team. Their quarterback, RG3, was throwing interceptions at a high rate of speed, as was Kirk Cousins, putting the defense in really bad situations to get scored on.
yeah.
If you don't have that, and you have a quarterback that knows what he's doing, and I think Colt McCoy knows what he's doing compared to the other two,
Hmm.
you have a quarterback that knows what he's doing, and he's playing to play really good and get a starting job in the NFL, and he's motivated. RG3's not motivated. He's lazy, and he believes that he's God's gift to football, and he deserves the job. And I feel like Colt McCoy getting cut from Cleveland, where the team wasn't really good around him, and he's in a different situation where he needs to prove himself to keep a starting job in the NFL. You know, he's only on a year deal. This is a perfect situation for him. And if he proves that he can go out and play good against really good teams, who knows? Colt McCoy could get a starting job somewhere.
Maybe, as much as I would be proud of him for getting a job, because I like Colt McCoy when he was in UT. Just like, why'd you have to be with a team I don't like? Though, to be fair, the same could be said with Johnny Manziel.
True.
But, I mean, they have a winnable game against the Rams this week, but, I mean, we'll get to that in the picks.
Right.
So for me, Dallas just really needs to start looking into. Well, they teams have been looking into drafts since around mid-season
Oh, yeah.
on potential drafts, because we've already talked about Houston and what they need. I say they need a secondary player or a center because Chris Myers is going to retire in maybe 2 or 3 years because he's getting old.
Yeah, he's up there.
But he's still Pro Bowl talent material. So,
Yeah.
and like Dwayne Brown too. But anyway, Dallas, I think it's clear as day what they need: a defensive end. Secondary, sure, you can consider that. Some of them are good. Like I think Rolando McClain is probably the only reason their defense has gotten somewhat better. Though he did miss tackles, but the Eagles are just too damn fast.
To be fair, what Dallas needs is to draft every position on the defensive side in the draft. They need to draft defensive linemen, defensive ends,
secondary
linebackers, secondary. Build the depth and do what they did with the offensive line.
Yeah, because I mean, what?
You do that, and they're set up to be a really good team for a very long time. I feel like this is the year that Dallas is either going to make the playoffs or Jason Garrett's going to get fired. One of the two.
Yeah, if they make the playoffs, I think his job will be safe, but it's easier said than done, especially when your schedule is a little rough. I mean, you've got Chicago, who is easily winnable. Because remember, they suck at home.
Easily winnable, but if you overlook them, they will knock you off.
Because the real only winnable games I see are Chicago. I think the Colts, because the Colts are a different team at away.
True, but it's still inside of a dome, so I mean,
Oh, it
really,
can
they're
be
a
open,
dome.
remember?
Yeah, but still, the surface is still the turf, and that's still a fast surface.
Yeah,
And both teams, no matter where that game is played, would be acclimated to that turf.
yeah. The only difference I see is that the Colts, remember, they can't stop the run. You can't.
They can't stop. They
DeMarco
can't
Murray is
stop the
the X
run.
factor for the whole season.
I believe that'll be a high scoring game. That's gonna be like a Denver Broncos game last year.
Exactly.
Remember,
I made that declaration, and I'm standing by it. And I think that's going to be the best game for me as a Cowboys fan for the whole year because it's just going to be so fun to watch. But
it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Thursday's game against Bears is gonna be a fun game to watch.
I don't even think I can't watch it, but I think I'm going to go with my stepdad, and we're going to go watch at one of his friends' house because they don't have NFL Network at my mom's house. Oh,
Right?
it's okay.
Yeah.
So, anything else to take out of this Dallas game so we can move on to the other bad game?
I felt like the only other thing that needs to be addressed is really I feel like everything that needed to be said was said. Really.
Yeah, because I mean, Garrett has a good vision in mind, and if they switch coaches, that vision's going to change, and who knows, you could even get a worse position because the run game has worked. It's just that you will face a few teams who are good at stopping the run.
Correct.
That's to be expected in a football season. So, like his vision is good because he's trying to reenact the dynasty. But the difference is that dynasty had a better defense. You get him a better defense to at least passable, then you are set for the playoffs.
Just imagine this team if they had DeMarcus Ware still.
I think they
It'd
have
be
probably have won another game. I don't think some of those games they could have still lost, like the Cardinals, but I think they may have won the 49ers game if they had him.
It was a huge mistake in letting go of a talent that could call the defense like that. If you had Rolando McClain and you had DeMarcus Ware, that defense would be 10 times better than what it is right now.
Yeah, and if you had Sean Lee back,
Sean Lee got it. His bones are made out of glass, it seems.
I know.
I mean,
I don't know, but anyway, let's move on to the other game, which everybody called the Super Bowl preview. New England went to Green Bay and played a good, hard-fought battle in the cold. They fared well in the cold, but Green Bay played on another level. Aaron Rodgers threw for how many yards? I forgot how many yards, but the dude...
300 something.
Yeah, and the team just took care of the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick was outmatched. And now all of a sudden the talk for the Patriots apparently not going to be the number one spot is back in action again.
Now,
but,
to
what?
To be fair, I think that the praise that Green Bay's been receiving has been overhyped. Really, they should have stomped all over the New England Patriots, and they didn't score any touchdowns in the red zone, proving that the New England defense is still very good, and it's that.
This wasn't a slaughter. It was a close game till the very end.
It was a very close game.
If Gronk got that dive touchdown, that would have been an entirely different game. Rodgers wouldn't have been trying to take out the clock. He would be trying to get a touchdown.
I think of it this way. The game within the game was really what happened in the third quarter. And that's the difference in the game right there. And it was Tom Brady not coming out sharp in the third quarter. He could have put his team on the back and scored some touchdowns, and Green Bay would have been playing from behind. I mean, the defense for New England is a good defense, and they held Rodgers in check. And to hold him in check is a very difficult thing to do. Two teams have done it. The Patriots, who lost, and the Lions, who won. And the key to killing the Packer offense and what stalled them out was Jordy Nelson. If you notice, if Jordy Nelson doesn't score that touchdown, they lose that game.
Yeah.
he scored that touchdown. They won the game because of that touchdown. If Revis doesn't play outside technique and he plays inside technique against Jordy Nelson, the game's a whole different game, and the New England Patriots are 10-2 right now.
10-2. I thought they're 10-3.
They're 9-3 right now. What I'm saying is that they would be 10 wins and 2 losses, and Green Bay would be currently 8-4, and Detroit would be the number 3 seed. But
yeah, I'm thinking Philly. Like I said, it wasn't a slaughter. New England had them in a good position. I mean, what I said was the key to beating Rodgers, and they did do it. But it's just that was that Nelson touchdown that changed everything. Is if you prevent Aaron Rodgers from getting into the red zone, and they did do that. They only held him to field goals when he got in the end zone.
They keep making Green Bay into this super team that they're unbeatable, and they will be beat, and it will happen. And I know what week it's gonna happen. And I know the team that's going to be the unlikely team that's going to beat them, that hasn't beat them in a long time, at their place. And that streak of 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions is going to come to an end in that week. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, even though I'm pretty sure every viewer knows who you're talking about.
The Green Bay Packers are overrated. Their defense isn't that good. New England just made them look good.
To be fair, that defense is better than Dallas's. Ha!
Green Bay's defense is slightly better than Dallas's. They're not that great.
Mm-hmm. So
I think
what?
Clay Matthews is overrated. That defense is overrated, and Aaron Rodgers, while being a great quarterback, is still nowhere near the level of Tom Brady or Peyton Manning.
Now I figure out who the player was. I mixed up Brooks Reed with Clay Matthews because they have long blonde hair. He was the guy I was thinking of when I see Brooks Reed. I just never knew his name.
Yep.
Anyway,
it's
anything else to take out of this game? Patriots are still in a good position though.
They're in a good position, yes. I mean, they've done a lot of good stuff, but I felt what they needed to do more was use LeGarrette Blount and just bash the Green Bay run defense.
I say use Jonas Gray.
Use anyone. Just bash that run defense. That run defense is terrible. Just do it. Just run over them.
I think they should have stuck with the run a little more, but oh well.
Oh man.
Anyway, so let's move on to the other Thanksgiving game, even though that was a Sunday game we were just talking about. To the first Thanksgiving game, Chicago at Detroit. Detroit was looking bleak and looking like they were doomed for failure, with Matthew Stafford playing like Jay Cutler. But then the scales had been tipped, and Detroit virtually blew out the Bears after those 2 touchdowns that they scored in 34-17.
It really seems to be a theme with the Detroit Lions that they want to get off to slow starts and then just have to come back after starting out. The Atlanta game, they were losing 21-0. The Chicago game, they're losing 14-3. That's the MO with this team. They get off to a slow start and then have to battle back. But overall, minus the first 2 drives of that game with the Chicago Bears, the Lions played amazingly on offense and amazingly on defense. They only gave up 3 points, and they put their foot on the Bears' throats and just, choked them out. That is what I want to see out of the Lions team, but they need to do it for all 4 quarters. If they do it for all 4 quarters, the Lions are a scary, scary, scary team.
Yep. Let's see. They held them to 21 points unanswered in the second quarter. That's what I was looking for. And then after that field goal, 10 points unanswered.
Correct. And if you really looked at that game, and, and you really watch what happened, the Bears were getting frustrated. They couldn't move anywhere. They were getting at really, to be fair, that one of the touchdowns was aided by a Lions turnover, so they shouldn't even have one of those touchdowns. It would have been at most
10.
10 points for the Bears. That just goes to show you that once the Lions put it all together, they get all their pieces back.
They're still one piece shy. Don't forget that.
Ebron's back, Pettigrew's back, Fourier's back. Once they start catching the football and get back into football shape, and then they get Reggie Bush back, this team will be a contender. I'm tired of hearing that they're not a contender and that, which Lions teams then come. How about the good Lions team that's 8-4 that has an amazing defense? How about that?
They are in a good position to take over. They have a good list of winnable games for the next 3 weeks. Hosting Tampa Bay, that is an easy win. Hosting Minnesota for your final home game of the year, winnable entirely. You nearly shut them out in their place. Just imagine for this week. Or for that week.
Especially with an offense that's going to be even more healthier.
Yeah, and then going to Chicago, which is also winnable because the Bears are bad at home apparently. And then you have Green Bay at the very end. But I will say, their next 4 games are clearly winnable. You could just win those 4 games and you will have already sealed yourself a playoff berth. In the division or in a wild card spot. It doesn't matter. Those games they have a really nice schedule set up before them.
Right.
It's as if the NFL wanted them to make the playoffs, and if they did, so they shall with these games. They're clearly winnable. They have the pieces, and they have Megatron, who had a phenomenal day. Anyone who had him in their fantasy team could have won their games alone with just that player, with just Megatron. 2 touchdowns, and how many yards did he get?
It was 100 and something.
Oh, yeah.
It was 100 some odd.
Let's see. It was 100. Actually, was it this? No, never mind. This one's not telling me the entire yardage, but it's okay.
It was over 100.
Yeah, but he set an all-time Thanksgiving touchdown record.
Yeah.
Which was good.
I mean,
he won that
overall,
award too, but yeah, go on.
Overall, though, the one area that they need to clean up is the offensive line. Still,
Yeah.
Dominic Raiola and the offensive line is still the weak spot on this team, and until they fix that, Matthew Stafford's gonna be running for his life the entirety of the year.
Yeah, and if my predictions are true, next year's schedule is going to be very rough. If my predictions are correct, which I'm pretty sure they are. So I think they really need to start. They really need to draft an offensive player. Which again, I have a prediction that in this coming draft, a bunch of teams are going to pick up offensive linemen, especially if Dallas somehow makes the playoffs. Because oh shit, we needed a legion of offensive linemen that can throw 300-pound men on their asses.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, I will say Golden Tate was my boy that game. I mean, he didn't get touchdowns, but he caught a lot of those important passes. I think he caught one in between very tight coverage against 2 Chicago Bears secondary players.
Yeah, that was a very nice catch. Very nice catch.
And they were throwing into him almost through all of that drive. I was just hoping he was going to get a touchdown, but he didn't. But oh well. Golden Tate, Bill, I'm sorry, but he's already my offensive player of the year most likely, unless somebody else comes around and steals the show.
I would have to wait until the end of the year to make
Well,
proclamation.
I already told you. He has a fair case. I mean, he took a team that was so riddled with injuries that you think that their games wouldn't be winnable. But no, he did not give up. He got the ball and he made big plays out of it. And
Yeah,
he was the spark for the comeback against the Saints. He was the spark for the comeback against the Falcons.
yeah, I totally agree with you, but I'm not going to say anything until the actual,
End of the year.
because I don't want to jinx anything.
Yeah, that's
That's
understandable. Okay, so Bill, are you ready to move on to the final game on our slate?
oh yeah,
The Tennessee, is that right? I don't know this team. This mysterious team went to Houston and got decimated by Houston
crushed.
with a franchise record game. 6 touchdowns. The original record was 5, set up by Matt Shaw, beaten by, guess who? Ryan Fitzpatrick. The run game was shut down by this mysterious team, yet they still got the pass doing really well. DeAndre Hopkins catching 2 touchdowns. J.J. Watt got another touchdown, so there goes more MVP talks. And then Arian Foster got a touchdown. A tight end, Ryan Griffin, I think his name is, got a touchdown, and Andre Johnson got a second touchdown of the year with one. The
Yeah,
Houston Texans blew out the mystery team, which I am now hearing is the Tennessee Titans, blowing them out virtually 45-21.
yeah.
Bill, if you were a Houston Texans fan like me, this would have been the best game you could have ever watched as of right now.
I would have enjoyed a 45-21 beatdown of a team. I would. Oh man, the Houston Texans just dominated that game in every facet of the game. It wasn't even close. The Texans defense was better than the Titans defense. The Titans offense was god awful. I mean, they scored 21 points, but really it was only 14. And, I mean, minus one mistake on a Texans defender, it was really 7. So,
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, the Titans just played god awful. I don't know what's the matter with the Titans. They used to be semi-competitive, but good lord, Jake Locker even coming in halfway through the game for an injured Zach Menberger couldn't get anything going. I mean, that's their first round pick, and he's playing terribly.
I'm
I mean,
I'm I'm not sure what to say to that.
I mean, the Texans still have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, because there's still
And
playoff talks. I don't think
that
they
is
will.
I mean, it's an uphill battle. You're 2 games behind with about. Well, no, you're really 1 game
Well,
behind.
really, the only
with,
teams that they have to beat, the real important matches, because they have winnable games. You have Jacksonville this week, and then you host them at the end of the year for a final game. Even if you don't make the playoffs, the least you can do is finish the game with a win. But the other 2 games these are the ones worth worrying about. Going to Indianapolis, this wouldn't be such a big issue if they beat them at home, which they failed to do
Yep.
so. And then after that, you have another tough game against the Ravens, who are they are going to be full desperate mode, which I don't blame them because their division is good. All their teams are have 7 wins.
I think at the beginning of the season I said like 9-7 or 8-8 for the Texans.
Yeah, you said 9-7.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah,
6-6.
It's still very possible, and I think it's very doable. And I think 9-7 could get you into the playoffs in the AFC.
If they all lose enough games, because it looked like they were all going to win their games, but when you put them against each other, now everybody's just losing to each other. So
Correct.
the Texans can take advantage of it, but the team to beat, in my opinion, is the Ravens. Because if they have a shot at a wild card, if they beat you, you're not getting in. It's like what I said with the
Right.
Cowboys. If the Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks tied, the Cowboys would get in because they beat them.
Correct.
So really, those that last road game they have of the year against the Colts, and in their second to last home game against the Ravens, are going to be big games. But I think they can beat the Ravens, especially since they're hosting them.
But
But
overall,
what?
what they showed in that Titans game showed that they are up to the challenge of trying to make the playoffs. And that's all you can ask for this team, after a miserable season last year,
I don't like talking about
they
it.
they came. Oh, I mean, I went through an 0-16 season. I mean, it's still I was hoping that Oakland would go 0-16, but then Kansas City gave them a gift of a win.
Yep.
But I don't want to talk about that either because no team felt bad for my Lions to go and play like shit against them. But the Kansas City Chiefs decided that they didn't want to win. But the Houston Texans are going to, I think, make some noise this year, and next year is the year. Next year is the year. If you look out for this team, next year will be the year. They'll have their quarterback situation fixed
Who will
by
it be
then.
though?
Who will it be? Who knows? Who knows if Colt McCoy comes out on and is available on the market? You never know. Ryan Mallett could be the starting quarterback. He showed some things.
You never know. Even
I mean,
Johnny Football could go out there. Though I don't
Brian
think so because
Hoyer.
of what I forgot to mention this. Johnny Manziel made a comment before the Browns game saying that he was going to make the Texans regret it. So I don't think he's going to be picked by the Texans because he shouldn't have said shit like that. But
I mean, you gotta have that fire down below to want to defeat any team that didn't take you in the draft. So, I
yeah,
mean,
but I won't lie. I
it's.
wouldn't want to be taken by the Browns. But
I
that's just because
mean,
I always would like to be picked by my
they
team.
they haven't had a really good team in a little while. I mean, the
Hmm.
last time they made the playoffs was 2003
That's better than one of
with
the.
a
Oh wait, did they win that playoff game?
no.
Oh,
They had a
never mind.
miracle team that year.
This might be the miracle team of this year, and then they could fall again. Who
I
knows?
mean, but seriously, the Houston Texans is a team to watch out for in the rest of the year. I still feel like they can go 9-7.
I feel that at most they can go. I mean, at most they can go 10-6, but I just think they might go 9-7, 8-8, and that idea is starting to be more realistic because I mean you have to go to the Colts place, which it's easier said than done. But I
Yeah,
mean, hey, the Eagles did it, the Patriots did it, but I'll say the
the
Eagles
te-
win was bullshit.
the 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 worst part of the Colts defense is the run defense, and the best part of the Houston Texans offense is running the football.
Yeah, but I mean, if the Titans, who have a shit defense, could stop Arian Foster, Colts aren't. That's not to say the Colts aren't up for the task, but really, if the Texans somehow beat the Colts and the Cowboys beat the Colts, they would have gone on a 2-game losing streak. Who knows? They could.
You never know.
So I mean, I love how we talk so much out of stuff outside the game and not the game itself. I just realized that. I mean,
But hey,
so Bill, DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins had the game of his career in that game. He was getting, no matter even if he was covered, he was open.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just had to throw it up to him for him to catch the football. And when you have a receiver in that type of zone, throw the ball to him constantly. And that's what Fitzpatrick did. He fed the young second-year player the football, and it ended up being over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Speaking of fantasy players to have on your team, holy God, if you had DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, he would have had about as much points, if not more, than Megatron.
I think a lot more than
Because he
Megatron.
had how many yards for him? 200?
It was 200, and
I think
then every
248.
10 yards, every 248 yards.
I think.
That's 24.8 points per, just for yards, plus another 12 for the touchdown. So 36 fantasy points would have been scored for you.
You would have
had
won
started.
with that game.
Yeah, DeAndre. I knew he was gonna go off sometime this year. It was only a matter of time.
Yep, and then Bill, you could double cover him, but then you have the great Andre Johnson open.
Exactly. Now, that also presents a huge quandary. Who do you cover? A guy that just had 200 yards of receiving, or a Hall of Fame type wide receiver?
Yeah.
And then you have you got two running backs that can catch the football out of the backfield. Good luck. Good luck stopping that.
And then let's not forget, if you let the Houston Texans get to the end zone, guess who might come out? J.J. Watt. And
Yeah, Watt
you can't stop him. No one stopped
his-
him.
I mean, if you watch that, I know that you probably saw that catch. That catch.
I saw that catch.
He was covered really well.
Yeah.
And Fitzpatrick threw it in a perfect spot, and J.J. Watt has the hands of a freaking tight end or a wide receiver.
He used to be a
do
tight
that.
end. Remember that. He used to be a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary. That's scary ability.
I know, and I actually have. I mean, I know I'm saying it, but the talks of the MVP of him as the MVP just won't go away. They won't. They won't leave.
They won't leave, but he's not going to be the MVP.
It's obviously going to go to an overrated quarterback like Rodgers.
Yeah, it's not go to a overrated quarterback like Aaron Rodgers.
Or someone
and he's
who's had it already. It's like, come on, share the love. Let's make the
It'll
third
be-
time in history.
It'll be Manning, Luck, Brady, or Rodgers. One of those four.
Whoever goes to the Super Bowl is going to get it. Let's be real. Whichever quarterback from those teams goes to the Super Bowl is going to get it. And honestly, I think even Brady can get it. Because what has he done that's now impressive? You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if you put one of these guys into a crap team and made them into a superstar team. Then you deserve that award. But
To be fair, if you put Aaron Rodgers on the Oakland Raiders probably have 6 or 7 wins.
probably. But hey, they'd at least have a way better record. They'd be at least feisty.
Yeah, they're just
Because like
dead.
I mentioned in that terrible season last year, most if not all of those games that they lost to were within a touchdown to win.
Right.
So it's not that the Texans were complete and utter garbage. But mind you, this is coming from a fan. But they had the ability to win those games. It wasn't like how the Raiders getting decimated all the time.
Destroyed, crushed,
Yeah,
beat down.
the Houston Texans had easily winnable games.
But overall, I feel, Houston proved in that game that they can hang with the big boys this year, and
I thought they've always
next
could.
year is gonna be even a better year.
I know, so it's like Andre Johnson, hold out for one more year and you probably will get your wish, especially if we go to the playoffs and play the Bengals, because we always beat them in the playoffs. But
The Cincinnati Bengals never win in the playoffs.
exactly,
really.
it's like basically whoever goes to play the Bengals must have a sigh of relief, because like, oh thank God, we're playing the team that sucks at the playoffs. That's just basically how you feel. It's like these guys can't win. But
Right.
the last
Oh,
thing
man.
I will say before we move on to other stuff. Was that you? I heard some weird sound.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. Anyway, the last thing I'll say. Another thing about that Ravens game, because I just realized this. That Ravens game is going to be the most personal game you're ever going to see out of the Texans season this year, because not only were the Ravens the team that took them out on that year, where they had to rely on T.J. Yates to win that Bengals game, and that's when they lost to the
Right.
Ravens. That's the year I think the Ravens went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Not only for that, and not only because Owen Daniels is now with the Ravens, but if I remember, I believe Gary Kubiak is the offensive coordinator for the Ravens.
Indeed.
That is going to be an interesting game. If you're not watching that game, to those in the Houston area, you're missing out on a good game. Because who knows how that's going to go, because he knows the Texans. But this is the test for Bill O'Brien. Can he prove that he was the better coach than Kubiak? Because that's my biggest. That's still my biggest question. Are we better off with Bill O'Brien? Because to me, sometimes I think you can change a coach and it doesn't matter. The team can still suck. As proof, look at the Oakland Raiders. You just stop joking about them. Let's switch it up.
Oakland Raiders are a joke.
Okay, let's switch it up. Let's switch it to the Jags, which I won't make fun of them this week because they beat the Giants and they pulled through for my upset of the week. But as I was saying, this will be the big test. Bill O'Brien's going to show his worth because, I mean, I'll be honest. If it wasn't all the talk about Bruce Arians and Jim Caldwell, which I believe they deserve the Coach of the Year, give Bill O'Brien some love, man. You took a 2-14 team and you put them at 6-6. That's a way better record than that. I think any 2-14 team would take an 8-8.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't for those two, which again I think they deserve it, especially Jim Caldwell, we'll give Bill O'Brien some love, man. The guy is doing good. But
yeah.
I think I'll leave it at that. So, any other games worth noting, Bill? Because like I said, the Jags. I'm not gonna make fun of them this week. They took care of the Giants, which makes me as a Cowboys fan really happy.
I mean, really, overall, this was pretty. There was very few interesting games. To be fair, it was mostly blowouts.
I mean,
and there was really no close games this week. It
was on Monday.
Yeah, there was one on Monday, but I mean, the New York Jets still blew a 10-point lead.
Yeah, because they didn't run the damn ball more.
I don't know what they can do. Even when they run the ball 75% of the time and they still lose.
Yeah, because the 25% where they throw.
Yeah, they might as well not even put a damn quarterback out there.
Just call him the guy who gives some person the ball to run with it.
Just give Chris Johnson the responsibility of being the quarterback and just run the football at the quarterback position.
Yep.
Just put everyone at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I mean, the only other game I could think of that might have been interesting aside from the Patriots Green Bay one was maybe the Buccaneers, because the Bucks were in a good position to win.
They gave Cincinnati a fight.
They shouldn't.
It
was that 12 men on the field. Which, why did you let that happen? First off, you could have won.
Yeah,
because they were well in field goal range.
And the other game that was kind of interesting was the San Diego-Baltimore game.
Oh yeah, comeback.
Because really, they had to come back and go all the way down the field and get a phantom pass interference call to win the game.
You see, the Ravens lost 2 games only because of bad calls. I think they should have beat the Bengals.
Had the Ravens won, it would make the playoff scenarios a lot more interesting.
Yeah, because now it's the Chargers and the Dolphins. In fact, let's take a look at the playoffs. Let's take a look at the playoff spots right now.
Heck yeah. 1 through 6. Okay, AFC. 1, New England Patriots. 2, Denver Broncos. 3, Cincinnati Bengals. 4, Indianapolis Colts. 5, San Diego Chargers. And 6, the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins have a 7-5 record.
Yep.
At number 6.
And they knocked off the Chiefs because they won their next game.
And teams in the hunt for the playoffs: Kansas City Chiefs at 7-5, Buffalo 7-5, Baltimore 7-5, Pittsburgh 7-5, Cleveland Browns 7-5, and the Houston Texans 6-6.
Oh, if you think that's crazy, wait till you see the NFC side. Do you mind if I talk about the NFC side now?
Yeah, the NFC side. Oh man,
It's
I have quite a
Cardinals barely
prediction for that.
holding on to that lead with at 9-3. Three teams 9-3. It's Cardinals, then the Packers, and then the Eagles, and then you have the Falcons on top because they have a perfect division record, 4-0. And in the wild card, Seattle is at 8-4, and then the Lions are at 8-4 as well. However, what I don't understand is the how come the Lions are at number 4 or number 6, even though they never lost the division game. I mean, yeah, they're tied for conference, but you think the Lions would be playing the Falcons again?
Well, to be fair, really the Lions typically get this style of treatment, and it just I feel like the Lions won't be in the sixth slot. Let's just put it that
I'd
way.
rather them play the Falcons. I mean, who doesn't want to go play the Falcons instead of the Eagles?
To be fair, what I'm suggesting is going to happen, and this is going to be the crazy thing. The 5 and 6 seeds right now in the NFC are going to be the number 1 and 2 seeds.
The Packers and the Cardinals?
No, the 5 and 6 seeds right now in the NFC,
Yeah.
Seattle and Detroit will be the 1 and 2 seeds.
You mean they're going to take over their divisions?
Correct.
And then the Cardinals and the Packers will
And
be
they
knocked
will
down.
both be 12 and 4.
Shit.
And then Arizona will be 9 and 7 and out of the playoffs, which opens the door for the Dallas Cowboys to
But
make the
Dallas would
playoffs.
better hope to be number 5, because then you could play the Falcons. You don't want to go play the Eagles again.
If the Dallas Cowboys can win out, or at least win one more game and go 9 and 7, they are in perfect position for the number 6
Actually,
slot.
they wouldn't
If
get it.
Arizona, what happens? What I think is going to happen? Arizona's going to lose every game, and they're not going to make the playoffs. Dallas will be in the number 6 slot.
But the Cardinals beat them, so they'd get the prioritization, wouldn't they?
Not if Dallas goes 10-6 and Arizona goes 9 and 7.
Oh yeah, then yes. I thought you said they both
I
get the
mean,
same record. Because you said for them
I
to
mean,
win one more game.
I mean, theoretically, the Dallas Cowboys could be anywhere. I really think that they have a shot at the wild card this year. They really do. I feel San Francisco's out of it. I feel Arizona's out of it.
I haven't even
And
told
really
you the
the-
in the hunt, which is just saddening.
Which is well.
Let me tell you let me
that-
tell you them. The first two make sense, but the rest are just get them out. The Cowboys 8-4, they are just shy of it. The 49ers 7-5. The Saints 5-7. The Bears 5-7. The Vikings 5-7. The Rams at 7. The Panthers 3-8-1. And the Bucks are on the in the hunt list at 2-10. How does that work?
Yep. That's they're in the hunt because the Falcons are 5-7.
Yeah.
Division win.
But they'd have to win out. If they lose one more game, they're out.
They're all they're looking at is if they're mathematically still alive in the division, and they're technically mathematically still alive in the division.
Yeah, but it's just
Where
that's an uphill battle.
Whereas, like teams like Washington and the New York Giants, who are now eliminated from playoffs,
Yep.
are nowhere near in the hunt. They're not even in the hunt for a playoff spot. If the playoffs, even if Detroit and Seattle lost every single game, and the Dallas Cowboys,
And the Eagles.
the New York Giants would still only have 7 wins.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, I mean,
I'm
I think it's an 8-team race, and I feel the Arizona Cardinals are going to fall off the pace, and so are the 49ers.
okay, the 49ers are going to be out. Let's be real here.
And Dallas is going to be the last team standing, and they're going to be in the playoffs.
For me, I think it's going to be the 49ers and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are going to lay one big egg.
And then Green Bay is going to play the Atlanta Falcons at the 4-5 game, and Green Bay's going to annihilate them.
Probably. So I say I'm still saying the Seattle Seahawks are gonna just miss it. Which because I swear that curse is still real, where the team that wins the Super Bowl cannot make the playoffs next year, and it's gonna happen again. The Seahawks are gonna bomb it. I just know it.
Right.
Anyway, so with that said, Bill, are you ready? It is time for the picks.
Time for the picks. Let me get ready. I will be ready in 1 second. Okay, I am on week 14. I just need it to load up.
Alright, so for Thursday's
Alright.
game, let's review. Who do you have?
I have the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Chicago Bears in Chicago.
Yep, and I made a bold prediction that the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat the Chicago Bears with the exact same score from last year, but flipped it. The Bears beat the Cowboys 45-28 last time, but this time it's going to be 45-28 with Dallas on top. Dallas is going to be desperate because they must rebound, especially because they play the Eagles right afterwards. They need this win.
They need this as badly as possible. I agree.
And if the Bears lose this game, they are eliminated from the playoffs. Which, let's be real, they've been eliminated.
They've been eliminated by the Lions. They eliminate teams.
Yeah. So, let's move on to the Sunday games, Bill.
Alright, Sunday, 1 o'clock game. Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bill, I'm going to make a bold statement.
Oh, man.
The Steelers are going to beat the Bengals twice. I have the Steelers winning this game. Andy Dalton was on the verge of fucking up that game with the Bucks, and it's gonna completely collapse, and the Bengals will lose this game. They're still not out of the playoffs though, because let's be real, we can't even predict the AFC North. Nobody can.
No one can. I feel this will go a long way towards predicting the North, but it's still going to be very unpredictable. And with that unpredictability, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals unpredictably having a really good game on offense, and Andy Dalton's unpredictably have 5 touchdowns or something stupid like that, and just have some sort of weird shit happen in that game, and it'll be the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Next game.
St. Louis Rams at the Washington Football Team.
Rams. Bill, the Rams are the best worst team, and if they keep doing this, they could at least go for an 8-8. The Rams are feisty. True. In fact, the ratings are Washington Football Team is ranked 11 in defense, and the Rams are ranked 14. Please switch that around and then drop the Washington Football Team down, because there's no way the Rams have a worse defense than the Washington Football Team. I have the Rams taking care of business and knocking off the Redskins.
And I feel this is going to be a low-scoring game, and it favors the St. Louis Rams. I believe that the Rams will defeat them like 13-10.
Nice.
Next up, the New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans, the battle of the century.
Oh my god, I missed the joke again! Bill, I forgot to make an Attack on Titan joke with the Houston game.
Yep.
Oh well. Bill, these teams should be rivals, because let's be real, their names are so similar you could almost make a lawsuit out of it. Will you knock down the Giants, or will we attack the Titans? I say, for my upset, the Titans get back on track and win against the New York Giants.
I feel for Tom Coughlin's own good that he needs a win, and I'm going to predict the New York Giants win in a lost season. I feel like they're not firing him after the year.
Bill, that's what we thought with the well, we didn't, but that's what you would think with the Jaguar game, but look what happened. Oh,
Oh man.
okay. Go on to the next game.
Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, everybody was saying this game is going to settle who gets the playoffs. No way. It's the Falcons and the Saints game that's going to decide that. And the Saints are going to take out the Panthers, and their streak of winning at home games is going to be renewed.
Like I told you, I like watching this division burn. I'm picking the Carolina Panthers to defeat the New Orleans Saints, and then Sean Payton's gonna be screaming at Rob Ryan some more.
Okay.
Next up, the New York Jets at the Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings are looking feisty right now. I have them showing they are the better defense in this side of the country. Well, you know what I mean, not their division, because we know Detroit's mathematically and proven to be the best. I have the Vikings showing they are the better defensive team over the New York Jets.
The Vikings will show what ancient warfare can do against modern Jets and kind of poke a hole in their wheel with their hatchet and just defeat them very easily.
I thought you were going to make a javelin
Vikings.
joke. Next game.
Yeah. Next up, the Ravens at the Miami Dolphins.
I have the Dolphins winning a much close battle. In overtime, the Dolphins
Oh,
come out
gee.
on top. Game-winning touchdown.
I have the Baltimore Ravens defeating the Dolphins in a very close game. Very close. But I don't know if it's going to go to overtime. I think it's going to be like 25-24 or 27-24.
I think it's going to be more defensive, and they're going to go to overtime at 17-17.
Oh man. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts at the Cleveland Browns.
This is the final Browns home game, and they're going to do all they can to win, because this game is winnable, because the Colts are different on the road. Not by much, but they're not that high-scoring offense we know like when they are at home. Proof, you go see the Washington football team game with them. For my upset of the week, the Browns win their final home game and show they are still relevant in the playoff race. In a desperate attempt to stay in, the Browns come out on top, intercepting Andrew Luck 2 times. One of them, nearly a pick six.
And I'm going to go Indianapolis Colts winning against the Cleveland Browns. I don't see... I feel like they're going to start Manziel, and this is not the team to start Manziel against.
Yeah, though, the reason why I'm still going with the Browns, because, Bill, picking the Colts is too conservative. And the Browns have a good secondary. They can pick off quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, I'm not debating that. They have a good defense. It just I feel like Andrew Luck's just playing on another level right now.
Alright, next game.
Next up, Tampa Bay at Detroit.
Ooh, this game is completely winnable for the Lions. I say the Lions are going to shut out the Buccaneers. And they're going to switch quarterbacks again.
Oh man, I'm going to pick the Lions, and I'm going to just hope that it doesn't jinx my team. I just want them to win. I need them to win. They need to take this game seriously.
This game is entirely winnable. They just need to take care of business.
Next up, the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I spared any jokes against the Jags because they came through for my upset of the week. I have the Houston Texans. Arian Foster is going to run it in for 2 scores. 2 scores in 7 years ago. But I have one more bold thing. Blake Bortles is going to be benched after this game.
Oh. And I'm going to pick the Houston Texans. I don't see how the Jaguars are going to beat them in any shape or form.
2 things. One, remember how we all thought the Jags were going to be relevant this year?
Yeah.
Oh, fun
They
times.
aren't.
And 2, I realize this. If it wasn't for that flag when the Texans played the Giants, it would have been the DeAndre Hopkins one-handed catch that we'd be talking about.
Correct.
Let's, and he would be getting custom gloves instead of Odell Beckham. Which, not to insult Odell Beckham, because he can catch. I'll give him credit. Next game, Bill.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills in the 4 o'clock game. Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos.
This is going to be a defensive slugfest for one quarter. The first quarter is going to have no score. After that, Peyton Manning's going to lock in, and Demaryius Thomas is going to have his best game. 3 touchdowns. You cannot cover this guy. I have the Broncos winning over the Bills.
Oh man, I have Peyton Manning crushing the Buffalo Bills defense. Then what's gonna happen is Peyton Manning's gonna take a jar, hold it underneath of Jim Schwartz's face, and he's gonna take his tears and then jar them up and then put them on his freaking trophy wall. Broncos win.
Okay, now let's get to the good other 4 o'clock games.
Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Arizona Cardinals.
Here's my upset. The Chiefs, rebounding, staying relevant too, knocking off the Cardinals in a 21-17 game.
I got the Chiefs winning this game. I feel the Cardinals are going to go 9-7 and miss the playoffs. And this is the start of the slide. The Kansas City Chiefs win. Next up, the toughest game of the week. The Seattle Seahawks defense against the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
Oh man, Bill, I honestly don't know what to pick here. I'm going to take a rain check for 5 seconds. Go, Bill.
I am going to go with the Legion of Boom and the Seattle Seahawks defense playing well against the Eagles offense. They have to run around and practice against Russell Wilson anyway, and you don't take out corners anyway. You keep the corners there, and you just play solid defense, and the Eagles rely on tiring out a defense, and I feel the Seahawks are built to match the Eagles' strength. So the Seattle Seahawks.
I have no choice but to agree. I always say defense is better than offense, and this is going to be a repeat, possibly, of the Super Bowl, where if you got a high-powered offense versus a high-powered defense, who would win? It's the battle between the sword and the shield. The shield will win, and the shield will beat the shit out of the guy with the sword.
Right.
Next game, Bill. The other lame 4 o'clock game.
The San Francisco 49ers at the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, this one's clear as day. 49ers. Though I will say, I want the Raiders to just crush the 49ers' dreams.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here. The Oakland Raiders will defeat the San Francisco 49ers, and it will cause an eruption in San Francisco. It will, the whole city, Jim Harbaugh will be fired because of the Raiders game, which they lose, and it knocks them out of the playoffs.
Bill, you have just tempted me of the possibility. I did not want to remember that. Fuck it, I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Raiders too. Raiders, another upset of the week.
The Raiders will cause havoc.
Do you know how much that pleases me? I want hell in San Francisco.
This will cause the biggest eruption of office moves of all time.
Oh,
next up,
I'm loving the sound of that.
New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. New England Patriots at San Diego.
The Patriots are going to rebound. People are bandwagoning on the Chargers, which, give them credit. The Chargers did well against the Ravens. But no, the Patriots will win. They are not going to lose any more games from here. I've got the Patriots.
Patriots easy. Next up, speaking of easy, the Atlanta Falcons at Green Bay.
This game's going to be over by the first quarter, actually. Everybody's like, oh, this game's going to be over by halftime. No, this game's going to be over by the first quarter. There's going to be 28 points on the board from Green Bay. Falcons won't get shit. Literally,
Oh man,
Aaron Rodgers is going to be done in 1 quarter, and then Matt Flynn will come out, or whoever the backup is still.
like I always say, I like watching people panic. It's gonna be the Green Bay Packers winning 52-38, and their defense will get lit up by Matt Ryan, and everyone's gonna start crying foul about the Packers defense, and they will be proven that they are not great.
Alright, so Bill, let's go to the Thursday game in case we're not around.
Correct. Week 15, Thursday night game. The Arizona Cardinals at the St. Louis Rams.
Upset of the week here. I knew we were going to talk about this. I have the Rams taking down the Cardinals, because remember what I said, the Rams will win somehow, or if you win, you lose something important in the process. The Rams took out Carson Palmer when they played them last, and they're going to take out this time, even if they lose somehow. I think they're going to take out another big player. I don't know who, but that's if they lose. But they're going to win and take out their hopes of the playoffs. The Rams. I'm having faith in the Rams, Bill. Sign me up for this team.
I also am picking the Rams to defeat the Cardinals. The Cardinals, their streak of losing will be 6 straight, and this will be number 4 of that streak. So I don't have them winning any games from here on out.
God damn it, Bill.
This is a Cardinals loss.
Ugh, and that's because they lost their quarterback. Shame. So, I am just at a loss for words, but I will say, the week after, Week 15's games are amazing. A lot of division games will be had.
Lots of division games. Lots of division games. Lots of very difficult games.
Yep.
There's a lot of good games on that slate. It's going to be an amazing slate of games that week. But first up, we need to get through another amazing slate of games this week.
Wait, what? We're not done?
No.
Oh, yeah. Then yeah, we do.
We did.
I thought, like, are we going to go to next Sunday's games too?
No.
It's like I haven't even made my entire thoughts on that, though I can predict them if you made me do it off the top of my head. But this is going to be an interesting shift. In fact, maybe it's this week where some teams will be narrowed down.
I feel like that's going to be the case.
Yeah. I think the Bucks will lose that next game for the Lions and be already eliminated entirely, because there's no way the Falcons and the Saints are going to bomb.
They shouldn't be even in there, to be honest, in reality.
Yeah. Anyway, that is... Any last notes to put out there, Bill?
Goodbye to 2-10 teams on the indie hunting lists.
Oh yeah, from what, both sides? Because I think if the Browns lose to the Colts, they're out, because they need to win this last home game.
If what I say comes true, technically a 2-11 team will be still in the hunt for the playoffs.
Bill, you just want the drama.
I do. I want to see a 5-11 team in the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Because it just proves how stupid their system is.
Oh well. Anyway, that is it for this week's of Football Talks. We will see you guys in Week 15, which is going to be even better, and we'll see where things go. Have a great week of football. And to those who are doing finals, if you haven't done them yet, good luck. You'll need it. So see you guys next week. See you guys in another video.